Netflix filed a lawsuit against two young TikTok superstars, Abigail Barlow and Emily Bear, claiming that their Grammy-winning unofficial Bridgerton musical project infringed the copyright of Bridgerton, a Netflix original series. This has generated reactions circulating the social media space. In this video, we will discuss the lawsuits as well as other related news and updates. Stay tuned so you don't miss out. First up, why did Netflix sue unofficial Bridgerton musical project stars? If you're curious about what transpired between Netflix and the unofficial Bridgerton musical stars, be at ease. We will reveal what happened in detail. At the beginning of the year, the songwriter duo started creating excellent songs about the popular Netflix TV series and distributing them on TikTok for amusement. Based on Bridgerton, Barlow and Bear created a musical score. They beat out musical legends like Andrew Lloyd Webber to win the 2022 Grammy Awards for Best Musical Album as a consequence of the success of their videos. The incident was a turning point that demonstrated how social networking has affected popular culture. On July 26th, the pair performed before a filled Kennedy Center crowd that included the National Symphony Orchestra and several Broadway guest stars. After multiple objections, Netflix put an end to these profit shows, which have tickets ranging from $29 to $149, including VIP packages. Bridgerton, based on books by Julia Quinn, has shattered Netflix's viewership records. The Regency-era romance series is significant at a time when the streaming platform is struggling financially and losing subscribers. In March 2021, Barlow and Bear's attorneys initially contacted Netflix to request permission for a recorded album and a charity performance. According to Netflix's account in the case, the company declared that it wouldn't approve the conduct but also wouldn't interfere. The Kennedy Center concert was a step too far for Netflix. Although Barlow and Bear did not have Netflix's permission to host their ticketed event, legal experts contend that this does not matter in terms of copyright infringement. Next, how did the lawsuit play out? There are numerous potential outcomes, but most disputes of this nature are settled outside the courtroom walls. Miller, a professor of literature, claims that there is sufficient evidence that Netflix's intellectual property was violated by Barlow and Bear, so they won't be motivated to initiate a lawsuit. Whether or not the unofficial Bridgerton musical is deemed to be fair use will determine whether or not the case is ultimately resolved in court. Rebecca Tushnet, a professor at Harvard Law School, claims that it is still too early to predict how the case would turn up. Fan fiction may be protected by fair use if it transforms the original work and gives it new significance. Fan fiction must also be non-commercial and cannot bring its author any financial gain. According to Tushnet, several elements are taken into account in a fair use case, including the intended use, the type of work that was copied, the quantity of original material stolen, and the effect on the market. There are commercial fair uses, but they are unquestionably riskier and need more justification, according to Tushnet. There are many reasons for doing anything, including criticism, commentary, and even creative reworkings that reveal something about the original text. A commercial rewrite is more likely to be judged to be fair usage if it is more critical of the original text. According to Tushnet, the typical work of fan fiction does not pull all that much from the current work. Even if a copyright holder determines a fan fiction work violates their intellectual property rights, they may decide it is just not worthwhile to take legal action. What lies ahead for the unofficial Bridgerton musical project? Depending on how the situation is resolved, a Broadway musical based in Bridgerton might yet be created and played. If the argument can be settled peacefully, Netflix might choose to use Barlow and Bear's work as its theatrical debut. Netflix may decide they do not want to work with Barlow and Bear in any capacity though, regardless of the outcome of the legal dispute. To remove any Bridgerton-owned intellectual property, the show's storyline would need to be significantly altered, and Barlow and Bear would have to give up the Bridgerton reputation that helped make the show popular. Tushnet cited the 2002 case Mattel, MCA Records, in which the toy company lost a legal battle with the band Aqua over the song Barbie Girl, but later decided to license the song for their marketing as an example of how creative ventures frequently have second lives. Fan culture is fantastic for brands, according to Miller, to defend their financial and commercial interests while also refraining from picking conflicts with fans making work that to some extent enhances the value of the brand. Corporations will need to strike a balance. The lawsuit may have been brought about in part to prevent future prospective fans' productions based on Netflix's huge library. Why is Netflix just suing Barlow and Bear now? Nearly a year ago, the unofficial Bridgerton musical LP was made available. However, the complaint was only filed last week. According to an English professor at Harvard University, he said the relationship has changed between the Bridgerton brand Bridgerton and Netflix, the unofficial Bridgerton musical album live in concert, a commercial performance at the Kennedy Center on July 26, was the reason for the lawsuit. According to Miller, who specializes in the intersections of art and law, the album generated excitement for Netflix without affecting its business model. Netflix sees the musical as a danger to their live event, The Queen's Ball, a Bridgerton experience. Now that Barlow and Bear have started producing for-profit performances, according to Barlow and Bear, Netflix personnel warned them that they did not want them to partake in any live performances or any derivative works that would compete with Netflix's own planned live events. In court documents, Netflix is alleged to have offered Barlow and Bear a license that would permit them to proceed with their scheduled live performances at the Kennedy Center and Royal Albert Hall. Hence, they will continue distributing their album and perform their Bridgerton-inspired songs live as a part of a larger program going forward. What could this mean for fanfiction overall? Miller said that fan culture is very excellent for brands to defend their financial and commercial interests while also refraining from picking conflicts with fans. Putting effective work to some extent enhances the value of the brand. Hence, corporations will need to strike a balance. The lawsuit may have been brought about in part to prevent future prospective fan productions based on Netflix's huge library. Keep in mind that the Bridgerton musical wasn't just unofficial, it was completely illegal. Regé-Jean Page could have personally delivered a cease and desist letter from Netflix to Barlow and Bear. The unofficial Bridgerton musical may also encourage other third parties to generate derivative works based on Bridgerton without Netflix's license, according to the lawsuit. However, the average fanfiction piece does not significantly borrow from previously published works. Even if a copyright holder finds a piece of fanfiction to be an infringement of their intellectual property, they may decide it is just not worth it to take legal action. Fan works have typically slipped under the radar, except for a few notable outliers looking at you, as long as they are not commercially successful. However, the copyright owners can start paying more attention once fanfiction starts earning money. I'll go a step further and say that, given the facts and circumstances, Netflix's copyright case is not only fully justified, but it's also advantageous for all Bridgerton fanfiction writers whose last names aren't Barlow or Bear. So, what if Bridgerton was musical? Shonda Rhimes' Regency-era bodice ripper Bridgerton soon overtook all other Netflix series in terms of viewed hours. This is how they both got started. Soon after its Christmas premiere, two teenage songwriters posed the following question on TikTok. They said, "What if Bridgerton was a musical?" Millions of people were interested in finding out. Over a dozen songs have since been written by Barlow and Bear. Pop singer-songwriter Abigail Barlow has magenta hair. Her partner, a pianist Emily Bear, has experience performing with Quincy Jones and is educated in both jazz and classical piano. They adore Bridgerton to the hilt that they started creating songs. As soon as they are done, or even as they are writing them, the two share snippets of the song. They came up with the opening number, a musical scene where two of the characters meet for a duel, and a ton of love songs with pop influences. Cast members from Bridgerton have expressed interest in Barlow and Bear's regular social media posts. They also claimed that other individuals in the entertainment sector had contacted them about professionally developing the project. Bear explains that they are just sort of getting everything in order before choosing a lane to travel down. People have been cooped up inside, according to Barlow, which is one of the reasons these Bridgerton tunes have caught the imagination of millions. In the end, there's no doubt that people still miss being in a theater. In spite of gatekeeping, tickets on Broadway cost $200, so individuals who had never been able to access it are now experiencing musical theater for the first time. That's it, folks. You have made it to the end of the video. As regards keeping up to date with our news, kindly drop a like and subscribe. Oh, and turn on post notifications. Now, if you will excuse me, I'll see you in the next video.